Hello everyone, welcome to another lesson on IELTS academic writing. In this lesson, we are going to talk about task 2 and specifically the structure. So what do we mean by structure? Essentially what we mean is how we form our essay. So similar to a building that has a structure, your essay also needs to have a structure. And generally what we mean is that your essay needs to have a coherence, meaning that all the paragraphs are related to each other and in the context of a bigger prose or a bigger essay, it all makes sense. So, for example, generally we suggest that you go with the 4 paragraph or 5 paragraph structure. And the first paragraph is going to be introduction. The second paragraph or your body paragraph, let's say 1, let's say it's going to be about your reason number 1, and the body paragraph 2 is going to be about reason number 2, and eventually you tie everything together and you make your conclusion. So that would be your fourth paragraph. So this is what we mean essentially by structure. And this, for example, you can imagine it as the foundation of your essay. I don't know why I said essay, but I meant essay. So this would be your foundation of your essay. Essentially, in this lesson, we are going to talk about on different types of task 2 questions. How do we form these different structures, and how do we build these paragraphs? We are not going to write the entire essay because that video would be way too long, but we are going to talk about what to write about, what to write in the introduction, what to write in the paragraph 1, what to write in the conclusion, summary, those kind of things. So without further ado, let's move to the next page. And in this one, we're going to talk about different types of task 2 questions. So types of task 2 questions. So first one is opinion. So you are asked to provide an opinion. So this is very common. You're asked to agree or disagree about different topics. So let's give an example. For example, let's write with our example color. Some people believe that technology has made life more complicated, while others think it has simplified life. To what extent do you agree or disagree? Agree or disagree? Okay, maybe I should have pre-written these because it takes a long time to write these questions. So when main point here, when they say to what extent do you agree or disagree, take the extreme position. Don't think about the logical or your true beliefs, because it will be complicated. If let's say you feel somewhere in the between, you feel that technology somewhat life easier and somewhat made life more complicated, then writing about that, it's complicated. Because then in one paragraph, you need to provide a sort of half-assed argument for position A, which is for complicated, and technology made the life more complicated. And in the second paragraph, you need to provide another half-assed argument for the technology made the life easier and more convenient. So it's better, as in sort of in debate programs, it's better to take the extreme positions. And a lot of times, I don't think like the debaters also, they actually believe in those extreme positions. It just makes it easier to provide arguments for extreme positions. So when you're asked to sort of provide opinions, rather than thinking about, oh, like maybe 70% I think argument A or 30% argument B, that kind of thinking, which is, I believe, is a correct kind of thinking when it comes to life. But in IELTS writing, it's better to take the extreme position. So you need to sort of categorically 100% agree or 100% disagree. And it doesn't have to sort of ring true to your beliefs. You just have to take the extreme position, take the 100% or 0%. So how do we form the writing here? And the reason that I'm saying this, it's easier to write it. I don't believe in the sort of extreme ideas, but it is a lot easier to write about it when it's all or nothing, essentially. So, for example, when you want to structure your writing around this, the best practice is to write two examples. One would be for the agree, and another one would be for disagree. And this is sort of a thought experiment. It's not essentially, it's not a practice in your beliefs, it's a practice in your writing. So take the agree position. So for example, the introduction more or less is the same. So when it comes to introduction, maybe we can go to the next page. So let's say agree and another one disagree. So the agree one is for the complicated and the disagree for the convenient. And the idea here is to practice both point of view. So when it comes to the exam, you can easily choose your pathway. So when you want to say the complicated, like first you need to, in your introduction, and BP 1, BP 2, and then conclusion. So BP is body paragraph. So introduction, when you agree to complicated, so you can talk about sort of just your first initial opening of the essay. So you can start with technology helped us a lot when it comes to medicine. It helps us when it comes to, for example, transportation. However, you can go however I believe, and it's better to use the active voice. So it's completely okay to say I believe. I believe that it made it more complicated. Technology made it more complicated for us to live. So body paragraph 1. So for example, you can talk about the mental health disorders that is on the rise because of all the social media, all the attention span of all of us that is shrinking because of the Instagram and TikTok and whatnot. You can write those examples. So that's your first reason. Your second reason, for example, you can argue for the climate, for example. It made the technology made the climate more worse. There's a lot of pollution. The general health of the population is decreasing, for example. Again, you don't need to believe in these. You just need to write a coherent argument. And in conclusion, you bring these, you say, because I brought these two arguments, I believe, again, that technology made it more complicated for us to live, for example. However, on the other side, convenience. So for the convenience, again, you talk about the benefits, and you talk also a little bit about the drawbacks. So the drawbacks we just talked about. So you write a little bit about benefits and disadvantages. And then you, in the body paragraph number 1, you go with the convenient. What aspect of technology made our lives more convenient? For example, better access to medicine, life expectancy is on the rise all over the planet, malnutrition is on the decline. So those kind of things you can talk about. And on the body paragraph 2, you can talk about internet, for example. Internet made access to information, access to the knowledge very convenient. Everyone on the on their devices can seek information and find information. And again, that's enough. You don't need to. You can bring a third argument for the technology as well. So, for example, some things are safer, transportation safer now compared to 50 years ago, let's say. So you can bring a third argument as well, but it's not necessary. I would suggest keeping it to 2 body paragraphs. It's easier and higher chance of better score. And then in the conclusion, you again mention the reasons that you already stated, and you say, because of the reasons that I mentioned, I strongly, it's completely okay to be opinionated and being a little bit of have a strong beliefs. So you can say, I strongly believe that technology made our life more convenient because of the reasons that I mentioned, blah, blah, blah. So essentially this kind of practice will make you very able to provide both points of view. And when you are remove yourself from your core opinions, your core beliefs, and then look at it as a sort of a game that you can either play for either side, then your writings flourish. You can write for all the points of view, and it will help your score as well. So I strongly suggest this kind of practice, that when it's agree or disagree, and when we want to talk about the opinion, try to write one from angle A and write another one from angle B. So this is the agree or disagree part type, essentially. There is another type that is essentially discussion. So you need to discuss both points of view. So in this one, the example, I'm not going to write the example, but because it's going to take a long time. But the example question is, some people think the best way to improve road safety is to increase the minimum legal age for driving cars or riding motorbikes. So increase age of driving. Others believe there are better ways to achieve this goal. Discuss both views and give your opinion. So discuss both point of views. So in this one, again, it's very similar to the previous one, that you have to agree or disagree. But in this one, you need to sort of be a little bit more sympathetic to both point of view. So the way that you structure it, so obviously, again, the introduction, let's see what color we used. Yeah, so you have an introduction, you have body paragraph 1, body paragraph 2, and then you have conclusion. So the way that you structure these, similar to the previous one, let's use the same colors, very similar to the previous one. So again, like this is very hard, and when you are trying to discuss both points of view, it's difficult to write two versions essentially, because you are providing both points of view anyways. So just go with one. In the introduction, you reiterate the question. Imagine the person who is reading has no idea what is this. They don't have access to the question. Imagine that, and then you want to introduce with the question, sort of. So you can say some people believe that you need to increase the driving age to improve road safety. Some people believe that you need, some other people believe that you need to provide better driving education. So in the first paragraph, you already provided 2 points of view, and maybe the other points of view was not given, but make something up. You, in the introduction, you provide 2 points of view. And that is almost half of the way. And then in the body paragraph 1, you provide the point of view of 1, or essentially increasing the legal age for driving. So in this one, you can talk about the benefits and you can make something up. Studies showed that increasing legal age for driving increases the safety. No one's gonna check what is studies. No one's going to search for papers for it. But just make something up. Like no one's gonna do any search on it. So studies showed it increased the safety, and you can build upon that. And then on the point of view of 2, you can mention however, for example. You can start with however if that's your point. But you can say improving the education has shown that it will improve the driving education, or better signage, or better road infrastructure. It helps the safety as well. And then in the conclusion, take one side. You don't need to go sort of ping pong, but in the conclusion, take one side. I believe that even though, for example, you can go with even though that the studies showed point of view of 1, I believe that improving the education or road safety or improving the signage will have a bigger impact. Something like that. So this is how you structure your sort of arguments and your discussions. In the next lesson, because this is already taking too long, in the next lessons we are going to talk about 2 or 3 other types of task 2 questions, and how to structure them, and how to write your paragraphs about those types of questions. So this one was essentially part 1, and we are going to talk more about the task 2 structure in in part 2. Thank you everyone for watching. See you in the next one. Cheers.